Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's about it's a little past noon. It's Monday, the 21st of June 2021. Apologies, I was out all week last week. I had a bit of a medical issue, and I'm back to normal here. I'm at about 90%, which is good. I've got a lot to cover. We want to talk a lot about the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Those are the two stock indexes that we are paying a lot of attention to. Also, wanted to take a look at Bitcoin. So these are the three things that I want to mostly focus on. I might take a look at Wish. I'm not really quite sure because everybody's talking about it. So I might take a look at that. So, of course, before I get into any of this, of course, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. So I want to start by taking a look at NASDAQ. So I was pretty adamant over the last month to month and a half that NASDAQ, and this was back when we were, back down here in this area. I was pretty adamant that NASDAQ was going to be going back to all-time highs. I was pretty adamant about that. And we had some trades to take advantage of that. We had a bullish spread on NDX. We had a bullish spread on the Qs. We had bullish spreads on Google. We were pretty bullish. We made all-time highs. What was that, Thursday? So yeah, let me just verify this. It was Thursday, Friday morning. We were making highs on NASDAQ, and the real interesting thing is, it must have been about 3:30 p.m. on Thursday night. So that would have been, right around here in this general area. We were talking about, let's see, yeah, and it was actually right here in this area. We were talking about NASDAQ being at all-time highs, which I'd been talking about for a while. And I said, let's go short. So we took a bearish spread on the S&P, not on NASDAQ. I'm going to take a look at the S&P here in a little bit. But if you all remember, I was very adamant that NASDAQ is stronger than the S&P. I've also been talking about that for quite a while. So S&P has been weaker than NASDAQ has been, especially, not especially, but even today. But I've just recently added to my position. So not a lot. Like when I talk about adding to a position, I take the majority of my position at entry, and I added a little bit to my position a couple times today, and I'm done. I'm at a full position. I'm not adding or anything like that. I've got my risk profile set, and I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go at this point. So, to me, NASDAQ does look like it is in a corrective phase. It looks like it does want to move down a little bit more. I don't know if we're going to find ourselves all the way down here at 13,700, but one thing is for darn sure, I've been talking about 14,200 for a long time, and we got to that 14,200 and we rejected there. And that was a good, decent rejection. We made it, we poked right through just a little bit, but this is doing good. Thanks, Al. I appreciate that. Yes, I do feel much better. So this is all good. But also, I've got a channel in here. Let me go out to maybe a 4-hour time frame just to see what this looks like here. This is kind of what I think is going on. So we've got this 3 deep 4 here, right? So a 3 and a 4. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think that we're finishing a little bit of a move here. Very possible we find ourselves back down here at this lower trend line. I think this lower trend line is going to be important until we break down. But when we break down, I'm not calling death. I'm just saying that we're probably going to be showing the signs of a finishing leading diagonal. So off of this wave 4, I'm looking at this as potentially, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just a leading diagonal here to finish. To finish wave 1 and go down into wave 2. I still think we've got higher to go, but midterm, I am a little bearish. I'm talking like the next month, not rushing this. When you go into a short, especially on an index, you can't really expect it to just completely, to completely satisfy, right? This is going to be something that is going to take some time. So I'm going to take my time with it. Let's take a look at the S&P. I haven't taken a look at ES in a while, so this is looking pretty good here. As far as an upward move, of course we shorted this back. Let's see here. Let me see if I can pinpoint this. It was the 17th. So it was right around here before we had that nosedive, right? So, and I'm on a 4-hour chart. So all in all, this is a really good pullback. Still all in all, I'm still pretty bearish right now. So I do think that we do have some downside to go. What I will say, and I think you can probably see this on SPY the most, is that right now what we're doing, and let me just remove this because I was kind of expecting it to get to that 427, 428 range. It didn't get there. But what we're doing right now, and this is also something a lot of people are probably going to be pointing out, we're doing a back test of this trend line. So we've got a lower here that was support. We've got a lower here, which was support. We had a huge gap down, right? So that Friday, if you all remember, we had a huge gap down. So, I mean, it looks to me like we're working on a gap fill. We're back testing this trend line. All in all, I think this is looking okay. Am I going to be rushing into a new short on the Qs? I'm not really ready to do that right now. I'm not really ready to rush a short on the Qs. We were talking about rejection up here in this range. If it got up there, I may consider it. But as of right now, it's really too early to tell. We've got 1 day of bullish momentum after 1 day of extreme bearish momentum. And SPY on the daily, I mean, just look at this. We had a huge drop off. That was a negative 1.67% day. And today, 1.27% up. So all in all, we're still net negative from Friday. Sorry, not Friday, from that Thursday, right? So we're still net negative from where we had the short, which is really what we're looking for. I want to see how the day closes. Again, I'm not going to flip bearish and bullish here on these indexes, on these stock indexes. I'm not going to do that right now, but all in all, I do think that we do have a little bit more downside. If we are correcting this move from this dominant pivot high to this dominant pivot low, well, we're at the 50 right now. We could go all the way up here to the 618, which is going to be at about 421. It's still possible, but then, our downside target is still going to be down here at 412. If that happens, let's take this dominant pivot low here to our dominant pivot high across the entire move. And what do we have? Well, we've got the 618 down here at 412. So it's not impossible for us to assume that we can come down here. And I do believe that we probably will. Just because we've got a pretty extremely green day doesn't necessarily mean that bias is all of a sudden going bullish. That's not what that means, at least in my eyes. I do believe that we do have some more downside ahead of us. Going back to the hourly, of course, we had a good buy signal here. This was on Friday at the very end of the day. Good buy signal down here, and we've got a good reaction off of it. But we still have this lower trend line from this low here and also going back to this low here that we're just simply back testing right now. You could look at this not just as just a trend line, but you could also take a look at this as a channel. So let me just get my parallel channel on here and get this lower, see if we can get this guy right there and just pull this guy up here. You can extend this over to the left. We've got this upper, this upper, this upper, this lower, and again we're back testing here, and I need to see how the day resolves. And I don't really care too much about what the hour says, because the trade that I'm in on my short on these indexes is more longer term. I'm looking for those to close in the next week or two, not in the next hour or two. So those are more longer term plays. I want to see how the day closes. If the day closes below this channel, well, then I feel a little more confident in my play. Right now, this is, in my eyes, this is simply a relief rally after a significant bearish sell-off. So we'll just have to wait and see. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. I know a lot of you are interested in our good friend Bitcoin. Let's take a look at this here. We're all the way down. I hate being wrong, but people are wrong, right? I hate being wrong. Um, it was about down here. I said, more than likely we're going to go down and retest 28. And it certainly looked like that's how we were going to go. And then we had a good V shape off of this, and I was interested in buying. I bought at 37, and then I bought again, I think at 35, and then I had a stop loss at 33. The on our waves indicator, the 12-hour is getting there, but the 3-hour still looks like it has a little ways to go. So I mean, of course, I've stopped out. I'm sitting. I'm sitting just in Bitcoin right now. I'm not sitting in any leverage position because I've gotten stopped out. But this 3-hour does look like it has a little ways to go. The hourly is just kind of bouncing. I think that more than likely we're gonna do what originally I thought was, and that is just simply a retest of 28,000, maybe a little bit lower. But spot buys below 30 are probably going to be safe. It's just getting that great entry. I know some people on Discord got 30K right on the dot on that day back on the 19th of May. And some of you guys sold at 40, and so now you're buying. And I guess the way you have to look at that is, if you bought at 30 and you sold at 40, and then you bought at 35, well, you basically just made 5,000 per coin. So if you bought at 35, well, your entry is actually lower than 30, if you look at it from a more long-term perspective, because you were able to grasp onto some profit. So when you bought lower, you're actually doing better. Does this look really super healthy? I mean, this does look like a pretty big bear flag. So let me go to like a 3-hour. We basically move from this area of consolidation up to another area of consolidation, then we move back down into the same area of consolidation. So it does look like we do want to push back down here, but again, looking left, this is the area that I am most interested in. We've got this low here. This is about 27,675, 27,700, this area. We've got these lows here. It's just a great area where I would expect there to be a little bit of a bounce. And so again, also looking from this from an Elliott wave perspective, it's pretty clear that you can see that we've got from up here, we've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 1, 2, then we've got a big 3 here, and then this 4, and maybe this 4 is gonna, I tend to believe that this 4 is done, right? So this is just a simple flat, and then we go down for wave 5. How low are we going to go? Well, the best guess that we've got is to measure wave 3 right there. And then we came back on wave 4. We hit the 50 actually back here, but then we had the 382, the 382, the 382 tried to push through and it failed. So this is all the way down to 25.5. I tend to believe that 28 is probably going to be where it goes. I think we're probably going to get some kind of a truncation on this if we do push down. It looks like we want to do it. It looks like we want to break 30 and at least retest that liquidity level, get a lot of people pretty bearish, try and get some stops on all of these seriously long positions that are out there. So again, here we've got a trend-based fib extension, the 1 and the 2. All right, we of course have the 3 that we extended beyond, and then here's the 5, again at about 25.5. So very possible we do hit that 25 level. And we're sitting at 32.6 right now. It looks to me like we want to break. It looks to me like we want to break structure. Looking at this, we've got a clear trend line right here that we're trying to hold. If we break down below that, then I do believe that it's more than likely that we're going to hit this 28 level, maybe down to 25.5. Looking at this from a potential wedge from this right here, my problem with this is just taking too long, right? This wave 2 didn't take very long. This wave 4, this is an A, B, C, D, and then we go up for the E again. I mean, the waves would certainly support that if this wave 4 were to come out even further, but it's just the timing. It's taking too long for this wave 4 for me to believe that this is going to be going out much further. I think if we're going to break down, we're probably going to do it in the next, I don't know, in maybe even this week. Maybe even this week. We'll have to wait and see. The only thing that has me doubting this, and I've already mentioned this, is the 12-hour is way down low. The 12-hour is way down low, and historically, when it has gotten this low, it's been a great area for a bounce. Let's take a look and see if we can find the last time the 12-hour was this low, right? So the last time, let's look at the last few times the 12-hour was this low. Well, it wasn't even this low when Bitcoin hit 30 back on May 19th. It wasn't this low back on April 25th when we staged a move to the upside. Back here, you know, back when we had this low back on February 28th, that's also, it had more upside. Let's see, let's go back a little bit further. When was the 12-hour this low? When was the last time the 12-hour was this low? Unbelievably, you have to go back a long ways. We're into, you know, this is all the way back even in May of 2020, it wasn't this low. Go back even further. Here we are. All right. Actually, right before we had the Black Swan event of 2020, right before March of 2020, that's really the last time it was this low. So do you need to be cautious when it's this low? I would say based on prior price action, yes. But at the same time, we've had a lot of pretty bullish price action since then. So I would say be cautiously optimistic. Be very, very, very careful if you're going to be taking any leverage trades. And you know, that's the reason why, you know, the trade that I took was I started with half leverage and then I went to just 1x leverage. So I basically wasn't levered. I mean, I was long, right? Not spot long where you buy and you're just gaining USD. I was actually, you know, using perpetuals. I was using, you know, I was in a long position. So I'm actually getting Bitcoin if the price moves up. So, but I was only 1x leverage. It was not very much risk that I put myself in there. So I know I probably sound a little wishy-washy, but I do believe that even though we may have some upside, I still think we're probably going to test that sub 30K level. I think we want to do that. And I don't think we want to, but I think the market wants to. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just saying be very careful. I think that, you know, again, just to recap real quick, the S&P, I'm midterm bearish for about the next 3 weeks. NASDAQ, kind of neutral. I do think that it's probably going to move to the downside, but it's going to take some time. Bitcoin, long term, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. I think it's got a lot of upside ahead. I think what a lot of people do is they get caught up in the noise and, you know, trying to squeeze money quickly. I think that Bitcoin is probably going to break this trend line. I think it's probably going to test somewhere below 30K, but I think that's a buying opportunity in my opinion. Anything below 30K is probably a buying opportunity. Just as back in March of 2020, you know, when we broke down below 9,000, 8,000, 7,000, that was a buying opportunity. I think we may get a similar scenario. I don't think we're going to get a serious capitulation candle, but one thing I will say is longs, at least according to Bitfinex, are still pretty darn high. When you see us start closing these longs, that's when I would start considering opening some longs. Shorts are closing, right? Shorts are continuing to close. And that, again, that's another indication that we may have some continuation. As shorts close, we may actually move a little bit lower. We need those longs to start closing as well. You know, one thing that you've got to remember is the market is here to take money from big money, right? Yeah, retail is great, but when the markets are boring, the big money is where you have to go after. And right now the money is in those longs, which is why I think that we do a rate of 30K to try and find those stop losses. And that's where you should be looking for long positions or spot at a minimum. So that's kind of what my thoughts are. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the video. If this video did help in any way, shape, or form, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And, of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day. Good night.